Welcome back to Apex Alchemy. I'm excited to talk to you about a case Russlock today. I have carried this thing for 3 days. I'm going to go over my first 24 hours of work. What I mean by that is it hasn't seen 24 hours worth of work. What it's seen is about 3 days worth of carry time inside my pocket. I haven't used a leather slip. It's just been out in the deep, man. It's been wandering in the wilderness inside my pocket, bumping up to keys and things. We'll go over that. The point of this video is not to be mean, but I do want to be honest about some of the things I've experienced so far. So, let's dive into it, man. When I got this knife out of the box, I got it home and I was trying to cut some paper with it. It felt like it was extremely sharp. It was not. It had a burr on it that was visible from space. The same cameraman that filmed Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin when they landed on the moon from the Apollo 11 trip actually gave me a call and said, "Hey man, that new case that you got has got a burr on what he called the locking side." We'll forgive him. Which I guess it is a locking side, right? But it's not a show side because both sides of this knife are considered to be show. And I hope everything about the knife isn't supposed to be show. And let's dive into that. So I carried it for a few days. I used it for one work day and it performed very well. It only took me about 5 passes across 1,000 grit stone. I gave it a few extra, and then I stropped it, and we have no burr no more. We have a razor sharp knife is what we ended up with, and this knife performed extremely well compared to some of my other knives that I usually carry for work when it comes to slicing through the plastic wrap. And I have no complaints about what, how it performed its duties. Very ultra thin. Works its way down from about 2 millimeters here all the way to about 1/2 millimeter there. So there's a nice taper. It's a very thin slicing knife. It's got about a 2.5 inch blade there, 2.5 inch cutting edge anyway. Maybe with almost a 3 inch blade if you count from bolster to the tip. All right, so my concerns. I've been told twice so far since I picked this knife up that you're not supposed to use a case. Man, just color me ignorant. I want to hear your opinions about that. Drop them in the comments below. If you're not supposed to use a case, that's fine. Let me know. My granddad used a case. My granddad on my mom's side specifically carried cases forever. He carried case knives his entire life, as far as I know. And I carried a tree brand. It was a Boker. It was a Boker tree brand. I want to say it was a congressman or a Congress or however that worked. I carried that for the better part of a decade, and I never had any issues out of my knife except for the fact that I did stupid stuff with it. So I broke the tip off of it using it as a screwdriver, then I wound up losing it. But that's what it took to kill that knife. This knife, my concerns are maybe the steel's a little soft, and I want to get into that. If we look at the spine here, I will do the best I can to make sure this gets in the video. All right, you see this right here? Where my finger's running over it right now. And now my fingernail is right there at it. Okay, I'll get my fingernail out of the way. So it's not a bad dent, but there is a dent there. And that's totally cool, man. Dents don't bother me on the spine. We're going to be using this knife, no big deal. But my concern is if it's denting that easy, just like clanging against keys. I'm not talking about slamming. We haven't hit this knife against anything. We haven't dropped it. No, nothing like that. If it's taken this much damage off of this little abuse already, what kind of knife are we going to be left with after a month of carrying it solo as a primary? I'm not really sure that I have the confidence in this blade to leave the house with just this knife without grabbing up something else, for backup, like maybe the PM2 or something like that. I'll carry that, and it'll be there just in case I need it, because I do have to have a knife on my job like that. There's no getting around that. So like if this one fails to perform, okay. Anyway, I'm rambling now, but do you guys know? I mean, like I hear the case does 55 HRC. I've got no problem with that. I'd rather it be tough. You got this nice profile for cutting. Very nice profile for cutting. This is the 4th time I've done this video, so if I've already covered this, I'm sorry. But this starts off around 2.5 millimeters, or 2 millimeters up here at the top of the cutting surface. tapers its way down to about 1/2 millimeter. And so you got this great slicing platform. And it does it flawlessly. No complaints there. But if it's taking this much abuse on the spine, what can I expect out of the edge long term? Are these things made to be used anymore? Like, have we gotten so spoiled with tougher knives, like I say, an Ontario Rat or something like that, or even that paramilitary that I had over here a second ago? Have we gotten so spoiled with the integrity of the knives that we have now that going back to something this traditional is almost impossible? You know, like, and this isn't the most traditional of the traditionals, right? You know, but it would still be made out of the same stuff as the regular traditional cases, right? You know, you'd still have the same steel. I think you got two options. You got this is the true sharp stainless steel, so it's 420 HC. I know it can go higher, but if they keep it at 55, I'm assuming that's for toughness. So like the blade will bend before it breaks. You can bend it back in shape type thing. That's respectable in its own right. Paul Boss can get it up to 67 when he heat treats for buck. I've heard him talk about getting 420 up to 67 HRC. It just becomes brittle, but it holds the edge really well for the type of steel it is, and it becomes brittle. It's easily broken. So I'm not gonna beat them up on their choices on what HRC they've decided to go with on their steel, but what could I expect? If there's anybody out there that carries a case every day, and especially like the same case for long periods of time, what can you expect the knife to, like, what kind of shape could you expect the knife to be in after carrying it for a full month of like working it? And I'm not talking about working construction. I'm talking about cutting through like glorified saran wrap, because I'm a truck driver. My job basically consists of cutting through plastic wrap from the top of the pallet to the bottom of the pallet, and I've got a method, so like I've gotten pretty good about not slamming the knife up against the wood, the pallet itself, stuff like that. I'm just, my main concerns. It doesn't matter if I destroy this knife; it's not a big deal. But my main concerns is like what to expect going into this. Would you leave the house with just this knife? That's not the only dent it's got. Like the dent right here. Somebody asked me about the spacing too, like the gaps on the back. Beside the springs, there is a gap. Personally, that doesn't bother me. It's not big enough for things to get in between there. Like I can't even slide a piece of paper in between that gap, but there is a gap there. Yeah, it's not flawless, right? But that's okay. I'm not concerned about the flawlessness of the fit and finish. It's pretty impressive compared to the other Russlocks that I handled, where the lock didn't even meet the tang of the blade. Those knives exist too. That's another concern. It's like not something if I wanted to replace this, I'm gonna have to go find one in person. They don't sell Russlocks at every case dealer. They may, but they may stay sold out more often. But it took me a few display cases to find Russlocks, period. So it wouldn't be like, I just can't order it online. Don't know what you're gonna get. And you can order it online, but if what if you get a Russlock in and the lock doesn't meet the tang of the blade? I know Case has a warranty, and they talk a big game in their warranty, but do they actually back it up? If your lock didn't meet the tang of the blade, how much you got to spend to send it to Case, let them fix it, pay to get it sent back, I suppose, and just kind of keep your fingers crossed and hope for the best. I don't know. So I do have some concerns. Overall, my first user impressions is I really do like the knife. It's extremely comfortable. I just don't know about the integrity of the build. That's where my concerns lie, are in the integrity of the build. So I hope that makes sense. Thanks for watching. I will update you as I continue to carry this knife, and I will continue to carry it. I won't take it easy on it for the sake of taking it easy on it, but I'll try not to break it or destroy it in the process either. And we'll check back in a month and we'll see where we're at. If you've made it this far and you're still watching the video, I could use you as a subscriber. We definitely use anybody as a subscriber, but we really like the people that watch all the, like the entire video. It helps the channel out tremendously. If they're not that easy to watch, let me know why. If they're easier to watch for you, let me know why. There's got to be good reasons, and like for both of those arguments, and I'm always willing to listen. So thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching the video. Subscribe if consider subscribing if you want to. Smash the like button, all that good stuff. We'll catch you on the flip side.